With the drawers already made, the next step that we're going to be doing is building the face of the drawers. And a lot of people find that difficult, but it's really very simple. All we need to be able to do is measure the opening. In this case, it's 33 inches by 10 5/16. So to be able to get the actual drawer face, you're going to add 3/4 of an inch to both of those directions. So for the drawer face itself, I'm going to need 33 3/4 by 11 1/16. Now, this is going to be the same for both of these. For these two drawers, though, this measurement is going to be 15 3/4. So if I add my 3/4 of an inch, that brings it to 16.5 inches, and it's still going to be the same height, because all three of these were set to be exactly the same. So this drawer will be 16.5 by 11 1/16. These two drawers will be 33 3/4 by 11 1/16. Now we're going to go over the table saw, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to be able to cut those drawer fronts. Now for this project, to do the drawer fronts, I've decided to use the spruce edge glued panel from one of the big box stores, Lowe's. This was a lot easier than just trying to laminate it myself. So, with that said, let's move over to the table saw. I have my measurements that I wrote down, and I've already set the fence to my 11 1/16. Next step is we'll go ahead and cut the drawer fronts. To cut the drawer fronts to length, what I'm going to do is use my table saw sled. I've already measured and set my fence with this little spacer block in here at my 33 3/4. The reason I've done that is I don't want to make sure that it doesn't bind against that fence. It'll give me a little extra space. So the first thing we're going to do is cut the end off to make sure it's nice and square, and then we'll cut the two drawer fronts to the 33 3/4. Number 2. Now we'll reset up the saw now for the top two drawers, and I'll cut those. The next step is to go ahead and put an edge around each of the drawer faces. And for this, I've chosen the Roman ogee bit, which I think will give a very nice decorative edge. There's many bits that I could have chosen where it would be a round over or kind of a cove cut. But in this case, I think this will look very nice. I'm gonna go ahead and set up my router table. I am gonna cut this off camera because the router obviously is very loud, and I'll show you when it's completed. Okay, at the router table, I went ahead and installed the Roman ogee bit. I've set the depth of it. I did do a test piece. I got my vacuum in here, and I've got my hearing protection. So I'm ready to go, and I'll show you once this is completed. Okay, something interesting had happened. I went ahead and did the Roman ogee, and this one worked great, and it turned out to be very pretty with very little fuzzies on the work. However, when I went to the next piece, there was a split in the wood that I did not see, which actually cut all the way back when it just broke off. So no longer will that Roman ogee bit work. So what I'm going to be doing is switching over to a cove bit that will actually cut in and remove that and again create a nice finish. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up, cut it, and then I'll show you the results. Okay, with all 4 drawer fronts cut now, it'll be off to the sanding station and get everything sanded up, cleaned up, ready to be able to be painted. So that completes this phase. Okay, moving on to the next step, we're going to be taking our drawer fronts and mounting them to the drawers. And to do that, I'm just going to simply place my mark for a hole. I'm using a scrap block, and I'm going to position that on here. Draw a line, because I want all the holes to be consistent. When you look inside the drawer, you'll see the holes in the same place, and the screws. And then finish that off. We got it marked there. And we'll go ahead and mark this drawer. And you can see that I've already done that and have drilled my holes in my other drawers. So now we'll just drill. Okay, last 2 holes. Now then, with that accomplished, we're going to go ahead and move to actually mounting the drawer fronts to the drawers. And to do that today, I'm going to be using the pan head screws that are 1 inch long. I'm going to get this into the camera where you can see that. It's a pan head screw. So that'll hold quite nicely in the wood to hold the drawer fronts on. All right, the next step, I went ahead and put in a scrap piece of wood held on by the clamps. And what that is doing is being measured down 3/8 of an inch. And if you'll recall, when we cut our drawer fronts, we allowed 3/8 of an inch for our top and bottom and both left and right. I also put a mark, you probably can't see it in the camera, but I put a mark here and here, both at 3/8 of an inch. So it'll identify my left and right. This will support the bottom temporarily until I can put the screws in. The other thing that I did is I already took my screws into my pre-drilled holes and I screwed it in so it's ready to be attached to that drawer front. Just makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to attach the drawer front. The next thing, we're going to take the foam tape. I'm going to cut off 2 pieces. Put one right there. And this will temporarily hold the drawer until I can get the screws in. Is this foam tape going to stay permanently? No, not at all, because it's a little bit thick. and it would keep the drawer front too far away from the drawer itself. So this is just temporarily until I can get it screwed in. So there we have the tape on. We're now ready to position the drawer. So we'll set it up here on my temporary board. We'll slide it left and right. So that's exactly where I want the drawer front to be. So we'll push that in place good and tight. So now I can open up the drawer. It'll stay on. And I'll take my drill and screw this in. There we go. I don't need to put the bottom screws on yet, because that'll hold it in place, and that's exactly where I want this drawer. The next, we'll go ahead and do the bottom drawer. Got a little bit different technique because I can't put that board down there. Okay, on the bottom drawer, I did the layout the same way. I went ahead and marked my 3/8 of an inch on this side as well as on this side. I also put a 3/8 mark here because I wanted to verify that my spacers that I'm going to use at the bottom will be correct. So what I'm using is just 2 washers. These are rubber washers, but they're the perfect thickness. So to be able to set this up, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my double stick tape. I'm going to put 2 pieces of the double stick tape onto the drawer. Okay, with that done, let's get the paper torn off of it. There we go. Now then, we're going to set our drawer front on. We'll have the one spacer there. We'll have the other spacer on the other side. We'll slide this left and right to line it with my 3/8 inch mark. And that is just right. Now then, to verify that the thickness of the washer is correct, I can look at my 3/8 inch mark on top and it's right on the money. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and push this in place so that double stick tape will hold. And then from there, I'll open up the drawer and we'll screw it in. Now again, I had pre-positioned the screws. My double stick tape did let go a little bit, so we're going to slide that back in with my washer on this side. There we go. Going to push that in one more time to hold it good. There we go. That will hold it in place. We can now double check it. Look across the bottom. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead off camera and finish the other 2 drawers. Alright, off camera I went ahead and finished up the drawer fronts and I added the knobs in here. So I'm going to call this project finished. This has been a fun build. I think my granddaughter's going to love it. Until next time, have a good day.